You know, I'm so glad I never got involved with you. I just would have ended up being some woman you had to get up out of bed and leave at 3 o'clock in the morning and go clean your andirons. And you don't even have a fireplace. Not that I would know this.
Why are you getting so upset? This is not about you.
Yes, it is. You are a human affront to all women, and I am a woman.
Hey, I don't feel great about this, but I don't hear anyone complaining.
Of course not. You're out the door too fast.
I think they have an okay time.
How do you know?
I mean, how do I know? I know.
Because they...
Yes, because they...
How do you know that they're really...
What are you saying? That they fake orgasm?
It's possible.
Get out of here.
Why? Most women at one time or another have faked it.
Well, they haven't faked it with me.
How do you know?
Because I know.
Oh. Right. That's right. I forgot. You're a man.
What is that supposed to mean?
Nothing. It's just that all men are sure it never happened to them, and most women at one time or another have done it, so you do the math.
You don't think that I could tell a difference?
No.
Get out of here.
Oh. Ooh.
Are you okay?
Oh. Oh, God. Ooh. Oh, God. Oh. 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 Oh, God. Oh, yeah, right there. Oh. 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 Oh, God. Oh. Yes. 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 Ah. Oh. Oh, yes. 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 Oh. Yes. 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 Oh. 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 Oh, God. Oh.
I'll have what she's having.
This is a Silk exclusive.
Welcome to another episode of Words, Music, Dance. I'm your host, as always, Paulie the Bull. No relation to Cavano. Shout out to everybody listening. Shout out to everybody watching. You know, I appreciate you. Everybody subscribe. Everybody on all the digital streaming platforms and things. Especially everybody that go to the website. You know what I'm saying? 2020vision.com is live. It's rocking. Every episode of every show is on there. Got some merchandise on there. Feel free to go through the store. Support your brother. You know what I'm saying? Everything goes to a historically black funded program, which is myself, because I need the money. So make sure you support me, you know what I'm saying, and the platform itself, you know what I'm saying, because I bring the people here to speak their mind. I give the voice to the voiceless, you know what I'm saying, to people that are friends of mine that I know have a good opinion on things that I haven't really seen y'all out and branched out. So that's why we're here. That's why we're doing this, you know what I'm saying, and that's what we do. So shout out to everybody that's here today, especially, you know what I mean. We got Lou, we got Jared, we got Rel, we got Waykme. It's the fellas. Okay. But today, I'm going to focus on the ladies. You know what I mean? We got Steph, we got Tiff, we got Karina. And first time to the show, we got Krista. I call her Lady K. You know what I'm saying? Welcome to the show, everybody. You know what I'm saying? And y'all know me, I don't like the small talk. So we're going to get right into it. You know what I'm saying? Last week, DJ Envy and his wife was promoting their book. You know, about their love life, marriage, all that good stuff. Yeah. But as always, when people start to air out their dirty laundry, clips go viral. They did an interview on the Shade Room. And, you know, one of the things that went viral.
And I'm sure so many women can relate, like, you want to reward that man for that work. And the only reward that you have to offer is an orgasm. But even if I didn't feel it, I would still be performative. So yes, I was faking it.
We got into like a argument, and then she was like, well, I don't be having an orgasm. She didn't say it in that. She speaks way more eloquent than I would have. And I was like, what? And she was like, I don't. I'm like, no, yes, you do. I hear it. Like, yeah, and then she was like, no, I'm faking it. I'm like, every time? And she was like, yeah. And then that just crushed me because I thought I was putting in work. Like I'm sitting there thinking I'm, Big Daddy Longleg.
You know what I mean? Silly me, haha, laughing jokes, things like that. The internet went crazy with it. You know how it goes. The internet go internet. You can't stop that. But then I thought, like, as he later, informed that.
When me and my wife wrote this book, I found out years ago that she was faking orgasms. So pretty much our first 10 years of our relationship. But you got to remember, we were together since 16 and 15. So at about 17, when we started having sex, I didn't know what I was doing. I was her first.
You said you was Big Daddy Longleg.
I thought I was Big Daddy Longleg.
It was when they were young. It was like 15, 16. I believe they said the first time having sex together was 17. So, at that early age, I was like, all right, you know what? It's understandable. You know what I'm saying? But then he said it was like 10 years. So it's like, whoa.
It went on for 10 years?
It went on for 10 years. From when they first started having sex to 10 years later, she finally told him that he never satisfied her. So, you know what I'm saying? So I thought, all right, you know what? We can have, I feel like a good conversation could come from this. So, right off the bat, I want to say, hi, Mom. Don't watch this episode. Because I have no idea where this is going to go. You know what I mean? But ladies, obvious question. Have you guys ever faked it?
Yeah.
Don't be shy. You know what I mean? Have you ever?
I have.
Got 1 year.
Plenty of times.
Plenty of times. Okay. We're gonna come back to this, but you know what I'm saying? Just want to check the temperature.
I have.
Okay.
Definitely have, and have definitely heard a couple of egos. Okay. Yeah.
We go, like I said, we're gonna come back to that. We're gonna come back to that. We're gonna come back to that. Now also, ladies, have you ever had that conversation with a man that he wasn't, or couldn't fulfill your needs and wasn't satisfying you? Have you had that conversation with a man?
I had it with in one relationship.
Okay. Tiff?
No.
Never had that conversation? Steph?
I've had it come up, but not in exactly a conversation form, so not really.
Krista?
Yeah, for sure. I've had that conversation before.
Okay.
And it hurts feelings, Paul. A lot of men aren't ready for that.
We're gonna deep dive into it, but fellas, I want to highlight y'all now for a minute. Have y'all ever had that conversation?
I'm turning my camera off, but not man.
Have y'all ever been in that situation where a lady let you know that you wasn't doing it right, or was what I'm saying? Absolutely. Okay. All right, just making sure. Just checking. Waykme, you kind of quiet over there.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, was there a 10-year gap between that conversation that had that conversation?
No.
But yeah.
So Paul, I think that 10-year gap, I think that's where the book sales come in. It's just to sell books. I mean, you got to understand. So you said it, because I didn't follow the story. So if they started at 17, I can understand a couple years, but girlfriends have girlfriends. They have family members. They talk. I can't believe no 10-year gap. So on the dude side, he should be communicating with her, finding out what she like over 10 years. So to say it was a 10-year gap, I can't go with that. And just to follow up on a question that you asked the ladies was like, yeah, hurt a lot of egos. I just want to know why you faked it. What was the purpose of you faking it? And what caused you to fake it for so long?
I can answer that.
Okay, so Steph, you're gonna go first.
I'm not.
First off, how long did you wait? Not how long anything else. How long did it take you to have a conversation, and then you can answer up the rest of his questions.
Okay. I'm gonna answer the second question first, which was, why would a woman fake it? We're all around, I believe, the same age, us women here, I believe, in our 30s, 20s or 30s, throughout the 30s or whatever. And we were raised in a time where sex was advertised for men completely a lot of the time. So growing up with that mentality of sex is for men, it's finished when the man finishes. A lot of the time, that was the era we were growing up in. And then as age and experience came along, I think we got more comfortable with those voices of expressing what we need sexually, because you know, that wasn't how sex was portrayed. I mean, even if you look at, you know, porn, sex is very men egocentric. So, and then I do want to ask before I answer his question is, how long for the women was it from the first time you had sex to when you had your first orgasm? Because that plays a big role in their timeline, I think. They sound like they were each other's first. So I wanted to ask the ladies that.
Correct, they were. From the story they told, they were each other's first, I believe, and she, you know, she said he's her only. You know, they've been married since then, high school sweethearts, college, and all that good stuff. And we all know he dibbled and dabbled in some others. But yeah, ladies, that is a good question as well. How, you know, when did you reach the big O for the first time? Just be nosy.
I'll jump in. I think Mr. Butler's question about it going on for 10 years, I think it's completely realistic. If they were in their 20s, how many of us had really good communication in our 20s? So we can start there, which is why probably most people's relationships didn't go on too long in their 20s. I grew up during like the Little Kim, Foxy Brown era. So you already know when it came down to expressing ourselves, you know, like my dad didn't want me buying those albums at all, but you know, as far as being able to be honest.
Shout out to that Lil Kim album
cover.
Hardcore
cover, bro.
Yeah. Shout out to that.
You know, I think just communication is one thing, and that's like a part of the orchestration of sex to some extent. But on top of it, as far as lying, I mean, I'll say it's not with my current relationship that I had to lie or make those excuses.
Go ahead now. Shout out to the homie. I know.
On this call. But as far as like previous relationships where it just wasn't great, maybe communication or my goal wasn't necessarily the same, I would definitely say that there were times that I maybe just stroked the ego and then was honest maybe afterwards or in anger.
Funny you say in anger, because Envy's wife, like he said, he brought it up. He said she didn't tell him till 10 years later in the midst of an argument. So at that point, it kind of comes up a little vindictive on some, you can't even satisfy me. And he like, wait, what? What happened? But
well, it depends. Did she say it that way? We don't know.
Well, that's what they said. It was in an argument. It was in the midst of an argument that she brought it up. So after 10 years of not saying nothing, she waited until that moment when, you know, during an argument to say it. So I don't know if she said it that way. But
was it out of frustration?
Possibly. They might have been arguing about that. Might have been arguing about something else. Could have been arguing about, you know, taking
a lot of variables to that.
Nigga, your sex is whack.
But you know,
after the Erica Mena scandal, like, how are you cheating on me with Erica Mena when you can't even make me?
And that goes to the ego part, because in his mind, I'm handling business, so I'm gonna give it to. I'm nice out here with it, so you can get some. Wait, I'm not good. Wait, what happened?
And wait a second, can you guys tell when we're fronting? Because I'm like, you can kind of fake it, but not really. Like when it's really there, it's there.
Yeah.
No.
So I think it depends on the actress.
I was just about to say, ask my ex-boyfriend because he swore every time.
Damn. I'm asking.
No. Ask him right now, bro.
Ask him right now.
For the first time ever in WND.
Hey, Paul, invite him to the Zoom.
Right. Send me the link.
Bring him to the table.
As a man, you have your questions like, damn, did I? Like,
but you can I have a question. I have a question. For Karina, because Karina, you said that there was only one time that you actually, because I'm not like I'm more curious about not why you faked it, but what drove you to have the one conversation you had.
So for me, to piggyback off, I think it was Steph's answer. One, I think a lot of it was that for me too. I grew up with the emphasis being placed on like the only role that we play as women to have sex is just to literally reproduce. And so it was never really heavily focused on women's pleasure. But then when I got into this last relationship and this one conversation came up, one, it was out of frustration. I was frustrated. I was with this person for 2 years. I patiently tried to like work things out physically with him and see what was going on. I also understood that I was like his second partner in 10 years. And so I was trying to be understanding of that. Right. But at the same time, I was also trying to protect him. And I don't know if it was protecting his ego or protecting his feelings. I don't know what it was, but I felt like he was already really insecure as it was. And I felt like I went and kept telling him, hey, like, you're not satisfying me. Right. I didn't know how to really approach it until one day it just got out of hand. And I was just like, look, like, you're not doing it. And if you think you are, you're not.
Okay.
And that was within 2 years, you said, right?
It was within 2 years. And to be honest, like, I know Krista said a lot of men's egos got hurt with her having these conversations. I don't know if his ego got hurt, but he definitely made no moves to change anything. Like, he gave I'm
getting mine.
That was gonna be my next question. I was gonna ask you, like, you know, how did he receive that pause? But he did he go? Don't laugh, bro. but I want to know if he took what you said like into, you know, consideration. But obviously he said he didn't. He didn't change anything. I have no idea
if he ever internally took it in and like absorbed this information. But I will say the response that I got though was ridiculous, because all he said to me in response was, well, you got a stroke in or two, so like you should be satisfied.
Whoa, no, he's okay.
That's reckless.
Yeah, he's wild.
Wow.
He's wild.
Well,
yeah. Now, Steph didn't hear you, Karina. Say that again. What you said? Steph didn't hear you.
Oh no, what I said was his response was, oh, well, you know, at least you got a feel for a stroke here and there, and so you should be satisfied.
And that's that men's ego that we've been taught to cater to.
Correct.
But do we really consider that a man at the end of the day? I wouldn't. So the reality for me is, first of all, we need to be clear. I think everyone fakes it. It's not just women. Men fake it too, right? We don't fake it as much because depending on the stage of sex that you're in, you may be just out to get a nut, to that point y'all was making earlier. But when you get physical, when you actually start getting into having sex and understanding the body and things like that, dudes fake it a lot for the same reasons women fake it, for the ego, because they care about the person. But to avoid that, you have those conversations prematurely. What you like, what you into. How would you like if I do something like this or something like that? That's really the basis of this conversation. You know, if it's a one night stand, you meet somebody in the club, y'all both had, you know, having a good time, you're not having those conversations. It is what it is. You know, the person that finishes first is the person that's going to get off. Right?
It's a race.
Right. It's a race. But if it's a situation where you're getting to know the person and then casually y'all talking about sex and things like that, that's the time to really get to know what that person likes. So when you're having sex for the first time, you're not having those, oh shit, is she happy? Oh shit, am I doing the right conversation? I mean, that's the way I feel about it.
Yeah, and a lot of times too, with the ego part of it, it could be a point where the man feels as if he is doing you right.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So until you say something, he's gonna keep doing business as usual, because in his mind, you making noises. So I must be doing something. And that's how Envy put it. He's like, he hears the ooh ahs and all of that. He's thinking, you know, I'm putting it down. And you know what I'm saying? So the ego too is the nonverbal communication or you know, the faking it. As her faking it for 10 years, he thinking he's putting in 10 years of work. I'm a veteran now. I'm the man. Which again could lead to him cheating and stepping out, because he like, I can't be just giving this to her. I need to share this. I am the man. My wife be screaming and hollering, climbing up the wall. Like, I don't know if that's how it happened, but it's a possibility. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying?
There's another side to that though, Paul. Because if that's his wife, he should really know. He should be more invested into her feelings and know whether or not she's faking.
And that's why I said that's part of the ego. They're not having that conversation. He's just going off of, you know, what he's taking from it is just, I must be doing it right. Cause
or he don't care.
Or he don't care.
Because if that's your wife for 10 years, you know when that person is faking something, right? You know it. I just believe you know when a person is faking something. You having sex with this person continuously, you can't tell whether or not the oohs and ahs are real. And then you go have sex with somebody else. Then you go have so now you get a comparison, right? He's not the one that was her first, or she was his only.
Right.
So that means he really didn't care.
Right.
To his point too, even if the actual physical act, he was fooled, there would be other tells as well, like how where's her desire to even have sex? Like,
exactly.
you know, like
initiating,
when, you know, like why, right, you know, when they in it, he might be getting gassed or whatever. But you know how driven is she to actually have sex with you? You know what I'm saying? Like that, like she doing that. I guess, you know, I'm your wife, so I guess I got to do it. That's another mentality that's been, you know, from the olden days. But you know, what is her drive like? Because at the end of the day, it's if a woman is not, well, if anybody's not being satisfied having sex with that person, that your drive is not gonna be the same at all. You might be going through the motions or whatever the case may be. So like he said, like it gotta be some sort of indication, even if it's not in the actual act.
So let me ask y'all, fellas, first, when did y'all learn the tells? When did you learn the tells, or you know, what was working, what wasn't working, or was it mainly from the conversation that you figured it out?
I mean, as you get older, you see the tells, like, especially you with that person for a long time. You know, body cues, who initiates the sex, you know, what they like, what you like, stuff like that. You can also tell when it's going down as well. Like, all right, we're not having sex as frequently. It's not lasting as long. I'm not into it. She's not into it. Like, it's a fucking Tuesday and I'm tired. Like, shit like that. I mean, you go through the motions. You if you're really connected with that person, the tells are always there. And that's your time to be like, hey, what's going on? Are we good? Like, as I got older, like when I was young, it was, all right, I'm just gonna go all the way I can, the way I know how. You know, the conversations happen later in life as I progress through my 20s, into my 30s, and later on. There's always tells. If you're really connected with that person, for me, there's always gonna be a tell, whether you need to have a hard stop and have a conversation, or all right, this is really going good. We know what we're doing, so there's no need to have that conversation.
So I asked because even though I don't know when they got married, but obviously they were together for that time frame. From 17 years old to 27 years old, did you know those tells?
So I was gonna say something earlier. I also questioned the family. I mean, I haven't really kept up with their story. I know little snippets about it, but I also questioned the foundation that this relationship has been built on then. Because if 10 years have gone by, and in 10 years, you have not felt comfortable enough to tell your partner, hey,
Yes, I
I'm
agree.
not satisfied,
Yeah.
that there's something that's lacking in this relationship. Not just the faking it part, but the fact that you're just not even willing to come to your partner. So I'm also going to place that accountability on her, because what did you feel? Why were you so hesitant to tell?
You know, she wasn't feeling nothing. But,
well, it wasn't really anything. Like, why were you so hesitant to not speak to him and tell him, hey, like, this is what's happening. I'm not feeling it.
So do we use the
someone made that point earlier that, you know, sex was a male dominated thing back in those days. So if that was the case, then that's the answer. She felt compelled to have sex and continue to fake it because of society. Society dictated that then at that point. It wasn't really about her not taking accountability, her not being comfortable, their relationship not being solid. It was more, hey, society dictates you do this, so you do that. And I'm just saying that because someone said that at the beginning of this Zoom.
No,
I don't subscribe to it.
Like,
I'm just repeating it.
We're like following that assumption, obviously. And I've felt the same way growing up as well. But I say, as we get older and with experience and time, we start looking at relationships differently and what we want them to look like. And I think a big part of that is communication. I think we mentioned that earlier. So I'm also like questioning that. You've been married, you've been with this person for a really long time. At some point, there's got to be some form of communication.
And that's why I think that 10-year period is just for book sales. That's exactly why I said that. I think it's for book sales. At some point, she had to have a conversation with someone as a collective to say, hey, you should experience this. You should be experiencing that. This is how I feel when my man and I do this. Envy's out on his own, doing his own thing. He's with another girl. To Jarrell's point, he could tell when they're initiating stuff. When he go home, his wife isn't. Something's wrong. Or back to the original point that I made, maybe he didn't care. And if he didn't care, he's oblivious to all those signs. You know, it's just about putting in work, doing what I got to do, and then getting out in the street, right? Take care of home and then do what I got to do outside. So that's the way I see this.
Just to jump in real quick, we can blame it on society and all that stuff, depending on your culture or who you grew up with and your family background. But I would definitely say the accountability falls on her as far as keeping it real and having the honest conversation with your partner. I will say, if I had to put it on something, kind of like what we said a little earlier, the age makes a big difference, but with age comes self-esteem. Just in my opinion, the older you get, more accomplishments under your belt, that's the stuff that really builds your character and who you are. As far as maybe not having high enough self-esteem to be honest enough with your partner, I would say that could definitely be taken into consideration, because you know, just from like, I'm like in women's groups and stuff, and I do speak to a lot of women that have a lot of different perspectives, especially on sex. And, you know, there's like 20 different types of orgasms that women can have. So I would say a lot of women don't even understand the levels of climax that they can even get to, nonetheless, then expect their partner to understand that level of climax to get to. It's a little unfair. And until a female or a woman gets to understand her body and understand what she can actually accomplish, then, you know, I could get where this would be taken out in anger on envy. And then if he's cheating on Erica Mena with Erica Mena and whoever else he's cheated with, because that's the name that we all know, he had no clue what was going on. That's my point.
Exactly. Right.
And that's a good point, Krista, because the reality is, as you evolve, you get to know your body, and that's when you're able to tell people what you like, what you don't like. So, you know, again, I don't think that timeline is accurate in terms of the 10 years. I just have a hard time swallowing it, only because in a relationship, as you evolve, you do communicate with your partner. Right.
Well, just to kind of step in real quick.
Can I chime in real quick?
Wait, hold on. If it was the Envy show, then she was just on the Envy show and running on his train, not developing who she was. So I definitely feel this could have gone on for 10 years, especially in your 20s. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I know in my perspective, the reason why I asked everybody, when was the first time you had sex versus when was the first time you had an orgasm? Like, the reason why I asked that
I'm gonna come back to that too. Sorry. Go ahead, Steph.
Okay, so like the reason why I asked that question was, for me, it was 5 years. And that goes to both y'all point. That's not a chuckling matter, really, because it goes to knowing your body. I was a teenager until I was an adult. The way that conversation came up for me is I was with the first man I was with for a very long time. And like Krista said, there's different orgasms. To go to Jarrell's point, I don't need an orgasm to feel fulfilled. However, like in sex, that's kind of that, you know, thing that we were talking about, that, you know, women, I think they derive like connection, they derive physical touch, and certain things happen to them with that, where it's not all about, you know, having an orgasm every single time. Now, I'm not saying anything about my personal life. What I'm saying is that's the truth. What would keep a woman engaging? Now, when I knew what a clitoral orgasm felt like, which is what most women will associate as an orgasm, if, you know, we're talking about it. When I knew about it, I found out, like a lot of women, on my own. And once that happened, I was like, you know, we were in bed and I was like, okay, put your head, stop moving, do it right here, now. And he got pissed at me and got up and walked away. But then that conversation came after, and I was like, I just discovered this new thing. it wasn't like he felt emasculated in that moment where I'm like, what? Listen, I want my body to do this thing that you've never done to me before. Like I was 19 years old, 20 years old, you know? So that's why I think the timeline could be. And, you know, yeah, of course she could be silent. She could have been riding Envy's train. I don't think this is an example of the blame game. I don't think anybody's there to blame. I honestly do think, yeah, maybe they stretched the timeline a little bit. But I do think this was a vulnerable state for them to come out and for conversations like this to happen, because these conversations are important for empowerment of women to use their voices during sex. Because whether you were raised by a mother, listen, I was raised by people who taught me this, and that. But when you're in the positions and, you know, yeah, there are societal things and there are cultural things and religious things and just lifestyle things. And we are in such a progressive age that we're able to speak so liberally on it and get different points of views. But when I lost my virginity, it wasn't like that at all, you know? But once I found out what my body can do, I was being the conductor of the orchestra.
Maestro.
No doubt, no doubt.
Like,
Right.
let's go. That's why I asked that question.
Steph brought up a good conversation piece as well. Do you guys remember your first time?
Like first orgasm or first time we
Well, let's
lost?
start at the very first time first. Maybe it might have been the same time, but do you remember your very first? Well, Steph getting all tingly thinking about it. All right, shout out to homie. Was that an eventful first time, or was it what was the line in the Matrix? Nobody hits the jump on their first time. Like was it just that's what sex is? Interesting. Do you guys remember that moment? Like was it guys and girls? Anybody want to jump in?
I'm thinking.
I want to talk about my first time.
Okay, got that answered, but that was bad. All right.
Mine was awkward.
I would definitely say
awkward.
Okay, so fellas, awkward, bad. Ladies, silence.
Special.
Nothing special.
Special.
Oh, it was special.
No, very special. It was
Okay,
the first
okay. So
time,
we'll come back to you, Tiff.
I mean, the only thing that I remember really is that Usher Nice and Slow was playing.
Okay, you had a soundtrack. All right, no doubt, no doubt.
Oh, I
7 o'clock.
Yeah.
Okay.
Krista?
Baby, tell me what you want to do with me.
They call me US.
Once I described some of the different things that could happen, I would say I was pretty like wowed by each, if I had to say it that way.
Okay. Karina?
I had to be in my early 20s, mid 20s actually, for my first like memorable orgasm.
Well, just the first time though. How about the first time?
Time was terrible.
Oh,
I didn't orgasm and it was painful as fuck.
Oh, okay. So it took you. You said it took what, 5 years? You said? No, Steph said 5 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Before from the first time to your first.
For my and I don't feel like that was a reflection of the partner. I feel like that was a reflection of me, because I will say this here publicly. I was completely satisfied 5 years leading up to that. So that is why I feel like a woman can't be completely dissatisfied. I was enjoying it and my body was reacting to it. It just wasn't reacting in that way. But once you feel that in that way, you just don't.
So
that's the bar.
What was it? The emotions? Was it the feeling, the love, the
No.
Like,
when I'm talking about that, I'm talking about the clitoral orgasm.
Okay, but I'm saying, but the prior, you said you were satisfied before the orgasm. What?
Yeah, because you can have. Yeah, I mean, it feels good. You get. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm going to speak it the way it is because we're talking about this, but when certain things happen, you don't have to have an obnoxious orgasm where you feel like the organ of your stomach is coming out of your body in order to be satisfied, in order for something to feel like amazing and delicious and, sensual, and to feel connections and to have a vaginal orgasm is another thing. You know what I mean? So there's like Krista was saying, there's different types and there's different degrees, and there's different ones that will come every time you will have sex if the person is willing to go those lengths, and there are ones that come once in a real blue moon.
Got it.
Yes,
Krista,
fellas,
said
when
was
you
20.
start making your girl sound like animal noises and she's looking like she's going through the exorcism, that's a different type that, she might enjoy too. It just depends on the mood and the day,
So you said you was 20. What's the?
Wait. Let me jump in real quick too.
I don't know about the 20. I want to know what the range is.
I'm gonna tell all of y'all some game.
Okay,
I've
go
known
ahead.
a couple of females living.
Hold on, let me get my notepad.
Right, take note. We're recording this, so let's go. That's why I had it here. That's why she's here. Let's go, Lady K.
Let me tell you, I know a couple of women that were like, "Oh no, I've never orgasmed." I was like, "Really? Like, you're over 30? Like, how does this not happen with your husband? You got kids. I mean, Birkin bags, Chanel, all of this. It is lifestyle. While somebody might lie to their man for so long, because it gets to a point where people they don't like each other." In a relationship happens, and that communication can get very bumpy, especially when we're young, like we mentioned. But depending on that lifestyle that man is bringing to the table, which in Envy's case, he was the breadwinner. So I don't care what anyone's saying. She was playing her role. And that's what happened in that case. So she was fine.
Erica was as well.
She did not care enough because she was benefiting in all those other ways. She got publicly embarrassed by her man cheating, which I'm sure she knew about plenty of women that were in the picture, but she was playing the role.
Now, Waykme, from that perspective, does that sound a little more likely?
In terms of the 10-year?
In terms of her just playing the role and just accepting what it is because of the benefits that she's reaping from it?
Absolutely. I think everybody plays a role at some point. Men play roles too, right? Women, there's situations where everyone knows a local dude that lives in the neighborhood that ain't up to nothing, but he, benefits off of a female that goes to work and works hard every day. That dude playing a role too. So that works both ways. And that's what I mean about the orgasm part. Men fake it just as well, right? Women hold it in. Men at some point will mention it, or they'll direct. Right? They'll direct the woman to what they like. Whereas, I can't speak for a woman, but based on what I'm hearing, they will just go along for a period of time until they erupt.
Good choice of words.
The male faking the orgasm. Talk to me.
So a male faking an orgasm, well, not necessarily an orgasm, but faking that they like the sex.
Okay, that I'll give you.
Oh no, I actually fake nutted. I've actually had to fake nut. I fake nut.
I mean, talk to me.
How does that work?
Talk to me. Explain, Jared.
Who? You want to go first, or me? Because I can ramble.
I mean, the same way, the sounds, the motions, and then you off to the bathroom, to take care of business, like to clean yourself off.
You shook your leg and anything?
Yeah, you gotta put it. You know what I'm saying? I done faked it. It's just because I was like, listen, I gotta get through this, and I gotta get there. She got there. I was like, all right, you got yours. Done. And I'm out of there. It had happened. I'm not gonna front. I faked it.
I'm saying like this. So, because I actually want to say a couple of things I've been real quiet up until now, but it's a lot easier to fake it using a condom. I'll tell you right now. Wow. So way a lot easier to fake it because when it's raw, raw sex, whatever. Like I know ladies can feel a pulsating kind of feeling, from that. So, but the condom shields a lot of that, and you can act like you did. and go about your business. Whether you didn't enjoy it or not, you just wanted to get out, get in, get out. You penetrated, you did what you had to do. You really weren't into it. You act like you nutted, and then you went about your business. So it's I've done that before in my past. And it is what that is. But to Lou's point earlier about the tells for guys, that's not always, well, in terms of tells in general, it's not always the case. like in my case, I've been completely busy lately. Sex is the furthest thing from my mind. And the girl that I'm dating, we actually had a conversation about that because I didn't realize we haven't had sex in a really long in a while. And up until like
wait, Jared, what's a while?
Over a month. And you know, at 37, you're in the peak of your sexual prime and so forth, and so whatever it may look like. But I haven't thought about sex, and it's not because of her. It's really because of my scheduling. And you know, like my time is all over the place, especially in the past couple of months. Like I have school, I'm in training for a different position at my job. My hours fluctuate. Like I got to be to work at 4 o'clock in the morning right now. Like, you know, like I don't think about sex. I'm thinking about school. I'm thinking about how am I making it through my day. Like I want to include her in that in my day, but the most I have for her at most times is a phone call or a text, you know, and I thought I would never get to that point in my life, you know, where sex is like the last thing that was on my mind, or you know, or even just you know, enjoying it, you know, it's like it's been a change for me.
My man better have time for the 2 pumps and a grind, okay?
But you know, but I'm gonna finish with this one. It was like, you know, a lot of dudes, you know, a lot of guys, we get a lot of our fantasies from porn. You know, like I know somebody said porn is a male ego. I think it was Stafford said porn is a male egotistical thing or male or ego driven thing. And yes, I think that's very much true. But you know, a lot of our expectations or a lot of our performances come based upon porn scenarios.
Word.
You know, like it's the erotic, you know, fixation and that, you know, that goes through our heads, you know, that we think that, oh, she sounds like this, you know, it's like the operant conditioning. Like if you hear this, you think this means that. So you're hearing these sounds of pleasure and not really understanding that. But if you take a step back and you're actually trying to get in tune with what's going on and you try to hear or even just see her body type, like the show, World Music Dance, like the body language matters. She can say, you know, I'm enjoying this, but her body language doesn't say the same thing. But if you're going into this fixated state of, oh God, you know, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, like everybody thinks they got the best thing ever. You know, and that's not always true. And sometimes it depends on the person. You can't please everybody with the same things. And I learned that. I was told that you can't please people with the same things you do with everybody else. Not everybody's body is the same way.
Okay.
And when I heard that, I took a step back and I had to think to myself, like, damn, that might be true. And I mean, like, I didn't get it because I remember one, forgot what lady said it, but like one guy, she told that, you know, he wasn't, you know, doing something and he got mad. And it's like, you got to understand, like, this is her. And sometimes a lot of guys don't want to think, you know, they'll put people inside of one general box and not realize everybody is different. Everybody's body is different. They react differently. And it took me a while to realize that. And then from that, I started to have the conversation if I'm not doing this, because me personally, I like to be a pleaser. If I'm not, then I want to know what I'm doing wrong or what I could do to enhance or do something better. Not everybody takes that time to do that. Some people, a lot of people think for themselves and just go about it. But that's really that's what I needed to get off my chest before I gotta skedaddle for sleep.
No doubt, no doubt. Thank you for your TED talk. Krista, I want to know about that 20. What's the spectrum of the 20? I need to know.
Yeah, I need to know. 20.
What's the lowest? What's the highest? What are we shooting for?
I'm gonna have to Google that. It's
I thought you had that. Like
I would have been impressed if she would have memorized those 20. If she would have memorized those 20 of them,
I'm just saying, give me the high and the low. I'll figure out the middle.
I was trying to know that. 20 shit.
Because 20.
Can I say something to Darren's point real quick. I just wanted to shout you out and say, like, if you're aware of that, but that you fell behind with that, and you brought awareness to it, that awareness is so powerful because that gives you power to move forward and not let yourself go that long or allow yourself to get so busy. And communication is so key because she might have been thinking that whole month, like, oh my God, he doesn't even want me. And you're just like so busy. So I wanted to shout you out for your communication and your growth.
Good job, Jack. Good job. Did you initiate the conversation?
There's a whole lot of innuendos in this conversation.
That's what it's all about,
Trying to
baby.
keep him straight face, but Rose like.
But Jared, did you initiate the conversation? Did you start the convo, or did she bring it up, or?
No, she brought it to me. She brought
Okay,
it to my attention, and
Okay.
I honestly like you know, like most, like, you know, like you would be like, you stepping back looking like, what? You know, like the Russell Westbrook, what? You know, face, and then you start thinking about it, and it's like, you know, it's like I was like, nah, it's only been like a couple of weeks, and she was like, nah, it's been longer than a couple of weeks, and I'm like,
calendar. She pulled the calendar out, nigga. It was it was a Tuesday. It was
count back. Oh shit! What? Like it took me like that. Like I didn't realize
so
that.
a point that was brought up earlier, I think Waykme said too, when we talk about the 10-year gap and stuff, the initiating of the sex or the mood to have it kind of thing. So you know, obviously your schedule is what kind of, you know, hindered you guys on performing. But she brought it up to you, so that means she's looking for it, interested. Or would that be a good tell? Would y'all all agree that she's trying to get some?
Yeah,
I would agree.
All right. So Jared, you need to handle your business. Not to put you on the spot, but because you was handling your business, but now you got to go handle your
But
business.
you know what? But you know what happened? But I mean, Paul, you know my life.
I don't know too
more
much.
than anybody
Don't
else.
saying like
no, you know my life more than anybody else on this panel. Not saying my life fully, but you know my life more than anybody else on this panel.
We could say
like,
yes. Correct.
I had, you know, like the state of my life in December isn't what it is now.
Oh, for sure.
You know, like I wasn't working like that. I wasn't even working.
You had time to put in time.
Like I had a lot of free time on my hand. When you have idle time, you do a lot of idle things. But that time isn't this time anymore. Like yesterday's time is not today's time.
Exactly.
Well, she let you know that you on the clock. The time is of the essence, so you gotta find some time.
I understand, you know.
Hey, yo, bro, listen, man. I want to jump in, man. I do applaud you for, you know, what you said and all that, but just realize you got dudes out here that prey on situations like that.
100%.
You gotta be careful of that too, because she letting you know, to Paul's point, she putting it out there. So you got a sweet talking dude, slick talking dude, light skinned dude with wavy hair come up, you know, start saying one or two things to her. Next thing you know, she ain't calling you.
It's like Michael Ealy.
Like, nah, it's all good, bro. I got somebody for that.
So like Michael Ealy
was just made between the two of them, that wouldn't have happened between them. It's not that easy because she was willing to speak out and be like, baby, I want some. It's been a while. Was able to make him grow from it. I think when you have a relationship where that open communication isn't breached like that, I don't think you got to worry about wave hair boy coming through and trying to sneak up, because then, you know, I think it was handled great. I mean, I'm just so happy to hear that, because I love hearing like growing situations like that, because they are opportunities for growth. And I do want to say this, Jared, when it comes to getting your money and advancing in your career, God damn it, guys, like I'm not just realizing why y'all laughing. Wow.
I'm sorry. Well,
when it comes to getting your money, when it comes to getting your money and advancing in your career and doing all the things, it's so important to cut out that time for you, but she will understand and keep your head in the game for your money and your career and everything like that. I do feel that way, and that's something I'm saying.
Like that's always been like my biggest thing, was trying to juggle time and just juggling life situations and so forth. Like I used to think I had a pretty good handle on things like that until recently, because honestly, I've lost so much track of myself that I don't even know where the hell I'm at half of the time. Like, and honestly, like that's probably more of a mental health thing, you know, to even just think about, because like I really like I can smile all day, but literally I could be struggling. I really won't share much of it. Like I may tell Paul, I may tell Lou, I may tell Rel, we in the group chat and so forth. And I'll hit Paul up, just on some random shit. But like honestly, like there's sometimes that I don't even share shit with P. And that's like my brother for life, and like there's certain things that I just don't share. And I internalize a lot because I always think that I can handle every damn thing in the world. And that's not necessarily the truth. But when I do vent out or I do speak out, like then it's like kind of like a, like a sound alarm, it's like, okay, hold on now, let me check in right quick. And then let me hit, I'm gonna hit you up every couple of days, see if you're checking on you, see if you're good or whatever. But I mean, that's a separate conversation than this, but
right.
It brings up an interesting point though, because time and stuff can also factor into the sexual performance and the result and stuff too. So it actually is because a lot of times I believe like married couples, they start to, that comfort level starts to creep in. I know you have been Kids can sometimes factor that in, and you start to the mother, for example, now I'm focusing on the babies in the house now. Meanwhile, the father's like, well, I want my baby to be touched too. You know what I'm saying? So that time scheduling and also starts to, and then like you said earlier too, now sex is becoming a chore more than something to enjoy, something like that. So I believe Krista, and Steph is asked you as well because you also have a child. Was there a moment where, like, with the baby prior, during pregnancy and all that, was there a difference in, cause I believe they say like women during pregnancy, like they wanted more. So how did that work with you guys?
I definitely wanted it more when I was pregnant. I would say that my partner, fiance, I would say as I got later in the pregnancy, it probably weirded him out. We had to have some conversations with the doctor a little bit, like, you're not going to hit the baby.
That's every man's thought, like, nah, I'm not going to
have
a dinner for him.
Absolutely crazy. Women look at you guys nuts for this. Like, what? I mean, you got it, babe, but what? But I don't know, like, I'm not even at my 6-week mark yet. And we're definitely having a hard time not taking it there, if that leaves enough room.
Nice.
But I'm pretty expressive, and I appreciate that my partner is comfortable enough with himself for me to be that expressive. I think that keeps the relationship very healthy between us and has kept a spark for a while. I have a question too, Paul. I'm gonna let it rock because I know you have other women that you just asked the question to.
Yeah. But so Steph, before hold on to that question, Krista. But Steph, when you were going through your pregnancy and what have you, how was I don't want to be direct. How was the sex during then? But did you want it more?
I definitely wanted it more. Mm-hmm. I also had my daughter really young. Well, not really young, but younger. So when I did have her, it didn't let up at all, and it's never.
And did you guys enjoy it during that time as well?
So it's just.
Did you guys?
The first, I can tell you this: are you talking about directly postpartum, or you're talking about just in the midst of having a child, raising one, and still doing it?
Both, during the pregnancy, during the pregnancy month, and the time after when you're allowed to continue again. Was the thrill still there?
No, yeah, it was good. When they're, hold on one second. Sorry.
So Krista, go ahead. What was the question?
As long as the chemistry is there, I think it's great as long as everything is like with both people.
And like we all said, the communication is always the key. The chemistry, the communication, because like you said, as men, we gonna be like, nah, the baby gonna get a dent in the forehead, or I can feel it kicking. They don't like that. Chill.
So you got the first couple of months, you enjoy it the best. What?
But then fucking dudes out here, this dudes out here that see that fucking baby breastfeeding, be like, I used to be my titty.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So even after when the baby's born, then there's that moment of now, the child becomes priority number one. But it's like, yeah, but I got some needs too, man. Like, it was good. Like the baby sleep. We got a good 15 minutes.
Right.
All I need is 5. But yeah, Crystal,
that was like actually
listen.
my experience when the baby would sleep. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, go ahead, Steph, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying, like, if the baby would sleep, like, that didn't really change. And then I would go into school. I was going to school. It didn't really change because at that time, being so young, that was such my priority. But where it has changed was with career stuff, which is why I extended the compassion I extended to Jared, because that is something that had changed it over children. And remember, I only have one child. I don't know about anyone else, but I only have one. So now would probably be the most difficult stage because she's 11 and I gotta wait until the nighttime, but this is the first time I've ever encountered an issue.
Crystal, what was the question you were gonna ask?
I don't want to turn the wheel too much, but I did want to ask because I read something where to kind of put the blame on envy, aside from pornography, that I know men and people want to blame pornography for just being male dominated, even though they say women watch it more.
Well, women do.
Do you guys feel like you're stuck in your heads from maybe your early 20s or whatever other fantasies you played out when you were younger, since this is maybe like an older crowd on the call? And I don't mean to say older, like obnoxiously.
Let me get my walker and my dentures out. Hold on.
My day. Right, back in my day.
Do you feel like envy was just trying to live it out?
So envy was what you said?
Just trying to like live out what he was doing when he was younger. Like maybe he missed out on time, or there were certain women from when he was younger that he was like, wow, this is the fantasy. And I'm like searching for this over and over. Maybe that's why he stepped out on his wife. Like, do you guys feel that you kind of reminisce and get stuck?
No, stepping out could be ego. That's one. Stepping out just could be ego. It's not so much about, I missed so much in my past or whatever. Like a lot of high profile people have people on the side. So there's a lot of low profile niggas ain't got shit. Ain't no profile. Flag break out. Niggas ain't doing shit. Got people on the side and doing shit like that.
Right.
Like honestly, it could just be your crowd, like your crowd of friends or your crowd of people, or even just you. Just that person itself, that just sees. It's like being a kid in a candy store. You see so much, you're like, fuck, I want it all. And you just go and do things. You don't think about the repercussions behind that. Nope, not many people think about the repercussions behind stepping out. And that's not just a male thing, women do it also. But in terms of the man, like honestly, it could just be greed. And it's in his case, he is a celebrity. He is high profile. So if you listen to every R&B and rap song out there, no one ever thinks they whack. And no girl's probably ever going to tell them that they whack. And that could be for whatever reason, whether financially, emotionally, they just want something out of it. For whatever reason, nobody's ever going to tell somebody that they're whack who isn't a high profile thing. Now, his marriage, that is separate. Now, Eric Jimenez said that he was whack also. That was just piling onto the train. For whatever reason that is, of course, there's a book sale to it. So it is what it is. Plus, she also does reality TV. And I think a lot of things, reality is just, just for gossip and talk. But yeah, it's, in terms of that, no, I just think it could just be ego, it could just be greed. Not so much about the porn factor. It could be that too. And it could just be God talk. We think, oh, you gotta do this, da. And he's thinking, yeah, I do that too. Or it's the talk can sometimes build you into certain things.
Yeah, I don't think, because I don't know the full details and the whole timeline of Envy and his wife and Erica and stuff. So I don't know, when he was with Erica and how far back or whatever it was. So I don't know. I haven't lined up the whole, time frame, and nor do I care to. but yeah, like Jared said, there's plenty of reasons for like the cheating and what have you. And however, he felt confident enough to do so because, you know, even if he even if he wasn't aware that he wasn't satisfying his wife, you know, he thought he was, so he was just like, I'm still gonna get mine elsewhere, whatever. And with him and Erica, like, she was basically like, you know, girlfriend number 2. Like, he had her set up in a, you know, little condo, car, like, you know what I'm saying? So we know why she was lying, you know what I'm saying? If he wasn't satisfying her, she was definitely, you know, reaping the benefits of the lifestyle he you know, supplied her with. So she didn't care that he was married because she knew. She didn't care whether he was, you know, she was getting hers or not, because 1, she probably can get it from someone else. 2, she didn't care. Like Krista said, you know what I'm saying? There are women that are satisfied by material things. You know what I'm saying? So the satisfaction didn't have to be, you know, a physical thing. It was a material thing. And I don't know, so I say allegedly, but we could assume that was, you know, the benefits that, you know, Erica received from their interactions, you know, and so forth. So that's how I look at that.
She hates her husband. Could you imagine, as a woman, hearing another woman say your man is whack in bed and you saying the same thing? I mean,
yeah, girl,
off the building. You are not worth it anymore to anybody. That's a terrible scenario.
I mean, it's terrible for any man to get outed like that, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? Like, the benefit that Envy has is he can say that was years ago, and since then we good. Like, she ain't complaining now. You know what I'm saying? But
all these women running around saying how terrible he is in bed. I wouldn't even allow my wife to say that out loud. That's crazy.
I know there's more women saying it.
Man, he might be taking the Ja Rule approach. You know, the end of, you know, the end of Ja Rule's verse on "Can I Get On It?"
You know what? I still fuck. Can I get?
I still fucked you. Can I get
Exactly right. So he might all these women might be saying that. He'd be like, all right, well, I mean,
I still beat those.
Yeah, that's an immature and egotistical stance to take, but you know, that's possibly, you know, how he feels about it.
I still beat them. Because at the end of the day, that is the greatest comeback, though, because it's like, no matter what you say, you let me smash.
But see, the thing is but like I said, that's still egotistical, because then that's just the stigma that, you know, men are just you know, that was the conquest, and I won still, you know, like
honestly,
or it's I know I suck, but I still got mine.
Right. And again, that's what it is.
Yeah, and that can still hurt a female's ego too. You know, saying that, but like, oh, you little dick nigga, oh, y'all piece of shit. I still fuck them. Ah! You can do to that.
Maybe you should choose better, man. What else we got? I mean, I think we covered a lot. Tiff, you've been kind of quiet recently. Is you good? Yeah, don't think I ain't know.
You've been soaking it all up, bro.
I mean, listen, nuts are hard to come by, so I'm not faking too many of them.
Wow.
I did fake to get out of a situation.
Tell a story.
It was a fly-in, like when I'm in town, like, what's up? Can I get it all the time while I'm there, type of thing. And then after a while, it wasn't fun anymore. Like, I even lied to get out of it. That I told him my flight was at a certain time just so I didn't have to like see him and spend time with him, because I just didn't want to do it.
Story.
Yeah.
He wasn't good.
And on the next call is him.
Yeah, but so what was the reason though? Like, was it he wasn't good in bed, or you was tired of him?
Nuts. Like it was like I was never begging him to move where I was. I wasn't planning on coming back.
Shout out to the cat.
Like, yeah, he wants to say what's up. So I wasn't planning on coming back, and you know, even when I told him like, yo, you know, the way I'm trying to love you just wasn't working for me. Like, it's not making you happy. I'm like, you know, I wish you the best, whatever. After we had this conversation, like 5 minutes later, he sends me like videos of him jerking off. I'm like, what is happening right now? Like,
wow.
Yeah. So it wasn't enjoyable for me. I didn't want to deal with it anymore. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it for supposed to be friends with benefits type of situation, it just wasn't what it was anymore. Like, I didn't see a future with him, and I just was over it. Like, it just wasn't working for me. So I was like, let me see if it's really my feeling. So I did it like one last time, and I was like, oh, let me wrap this up. I was like, let me go ahead and just
wrap it up.
What I mean? Let me strike the ego one good time.
So,
Wrap it up, B.
but for the ladies though, you say it's difficult to have that conversation. What's the most difficult part about having that conversation?
Telling them that it's it. Like.
Well, you talking about ending it, or you talking about just the non-satisfaction?
The non-satisfied part.
Oh,
like, what's the most difficult part?
I mean, I told a dude one time I was on top of him, and I told him I was like, "Damn, like I wish you were somebody else."
During,
like mid,
wow.
Like, that's why.
All right, so hold on. We just opened up
Pandora's box,
a whole other box.
Yes.
So Tiff, you were starting that story, and you said you was like mid-action.
I mean, it was with a situation where like I didn't want to recycle it anymore. Like it was an ex situation. Like we were dealing with each other, and I was like, all right, let's just keep it going. And one night he came over, and we was, you know what I mean? He was about the spot was happening, and I was on top, and I just looked at him, and I just looked down at him, and I was like, damn, I really wish you was somebody else.
Wow.
I just like.
Yeah, that's so real. Thank you for sharing that. I love this story.
Wow.
And it's crazy because his cousin brought it up to me a few times. He's like, I'll never forget. He came.
Yeah, the cousin knew.
Hold up, he told people this? He told somebody that?
Yeah. Yeah. Negative. I mean, because I was being honest. Like, there was nothing about me exciting or dripping for him wanting to get this popping. Like, I'm not gonna waste it on you knowing that she ain't even with it. So like, yeah, we're done here. Like,
hold on, I have a question though. Did he finish after that comment was made?
No. He pretty much.
How can you, bro?
I was gonna say this.
He went home after that. He went home after that, and yeah. And it's funny because his cousin brought it up to me like a couple months ago, and he was like, "I'll never forget the day." I'm not gonna drop his name in here, but it's like I'll never forget the day. He was like,
"Was he a rapper?" I'm like, "No, we gonna know him."
Like I don't like to name drop just people.
Oh, okay.
Like, yeah, none of that.
Like yeah, when she's like yeah, you remember when that day was DJ Envy? I mean,
oh God, no.
He's a DJ in New York on a radio show.
Like he was like, yeah. I was like, hell yeah, I told him that. I was like, because it's just, I need him to know, like, there's never a point if you feel like you want to rekindle or just you want to.
Yeah, there's no shot.
That was it. Like, don't, if you ever think about us fucking or anything, like,
at that point,
let it go. Yeah.
The fact that he told somebody else that story, though, it's
that's even wild. Like, that's, I heard of Sharon, but that's a secret.
That's what I thought, but yeah.
One of the grave.
So, I mean, that wasn't Lou's question exactly.
But damn.
That we needed that. But I mean, to Lou's question was like, the actual conversation afterwards, like letting someone know that they're not satisfying you, or what have you. How did that come about, or how did y'all initiate that conversation when you did?
I mean, his question was more like, why was it so difficult to have the conversation?
But why was it difficult? Right, but
from my experience, I think for me it was that I think Krista said this earlier. It also goes back to like your self-esteem, like how high is your self-esteem, your self-worth. And I think for me, during the time that I was with my ex in that relationship, my self-esteem was in like trash. It was on the floor. Like I didn't think highly of myself. My self-worth was just non-existent. And so for me, it was really hard to speak up and advocate for my own needs. And because I didn't really think I was worthy of them. And then after once I left that relationship, I started kind of working on myself. I went into therapy, and then I started kind of realizing now, like, wait, this is okay. Like I'm supposed to be doing this. Like there's nothing wrong in speaking up. And so I think for me personally, like that also was an issue for me. And like that kept impeding this conversation. And that's what dragged, because I was unhappy in the relationship. Aside from the sex, like I was just unhappy. And I think that they had brought this up earlier too. Like you start telling when a woman or anyone is not interested, because you start like kind of realizing who's insinuating, like who's starting more, who's looking for it. There was a time where I didn't even want to be touched by him. I didn't want him to look at me. I didn't even want him to mention the idea of like having sex, because he repulsed me, but I was also repulsed by myself. And so I think you know, that relationship, like there was just no emotional ties to it either. And for me, I don't, you know, women, we are very much emotional creatures. And I think for me anyway, to sleep with someone, I need to feel something for this person.
Yeah.
And when I lost feelings for him, that was it. And then I broke up with him. And then I kind of started doing the work. And then now, like, whenever I get into my next relationship, I'm going in with a whole new kind of foundation and like things that I've worked on.
I want to care about the dick.
Right, right, right.
That's one way to put it.
She said, right.
I want to care about it. Imagine if you really care about it.
She ain't lying though.
No.
And that goes to something Jared said earlier, actually, is that like when someone doesn't mean much to you, like the only time I've ever faked it, when you guys asked about faking it, was with people that it was like, it's okay with me in my soul to fake it because I'm probably not going to find myself back here again. So I just wanted to be done with, let's go. And I think when it's a relationship, it's a lot harder to get those words out of your mouth because it's like you are, you know, hurting somebody and there's already a detachment in the relationship, you know, then it's just like, you can let him keep his ego and be like, yo, listen, I just don't think we're working. But I'm glad that you were able to speak. I'm glad that she was able
I was gonna say, I had a male friend where I was like, listen, like I could tell he was doing like kind of all the boyfriend things, and I'm like, bro, I haven't gotten none in a minute. I was like, let me just borrow you, like let me just borrow you, and he just wouldn't do it because he was like, I don't know if I want to like be with you. I just want to be a friend. I'm like, that's fine. Just let me borrow you real quick. Like let me do my.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny? Like I wouldn't have been on some, I don't know, but like me, like none of my friends, none of my female friends could come to me with that because I'd just be like, nah. It's because honestly, if I would have sex with you, you're not my friend. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I wouldn't even call you that. You know what I'm saying? So like if any of my friends, and you know, Steph, y'all see my Instagram and stuff like that. My friend, I got a lot of beautiful female friends. Actually, most of my friends are women. And but none of them, like I'll be like, no, we're not.
Do you post them or something? You post them on your page?
Say it again?
You post them on your page, these beautiful friends you have?
Yeah, they post me and we be hanging out, all that, you know what I'm saying? Like, but but the relationship ain't that. So if they would have ever approached me like that, I'd be like, we can't do that because that's what it is. I wouldn't be like, dude, if he's telling you he don't know if he want to be with you, nah, he's just he probably wanted to. He just don't even know how to tell you. You know what I'm saying? But
right, and that's why I was like, it's fine. Yeah. You can figure that out down the line. I just.
But I do like the fact though that you was trying to alley it to him though, like you know what I'm saying, like you was like, because I mean, there's a lot of dudes who don't feel like me about their friends, and they probably wish they had a friend who's trying to get, you know, like trying to get, you know, have them by their bodies borrowed. But yeah, but I just think it was interesting that he was reacted in that manner. Like I don't. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So, ladies, how much does the emotion and feeling go into the orgasm? Or at least the enjoyment and satisfaction.
Depends. It's chemistry. It's
Yeah.
chemistry.
Yeah.
Like younger Krista probably did not care about emotions and stuff. Like it didn't matter. It was just if the chemistry was right or with the person I was with. Later on, I definitely feel like that connection is important. And it's also like once you've done a long-term relationship, which the one that I'm in is the longest that I've been in, like you got to be willing to put in a certain level of work. And I'm definitely convinced most people don't want to work, whether that's in corporate America or in cannabis, any of these settings. A lot of people just don't want to work. And, you know, in order to kind of have something last that is memorable or worthwhile, being able to spice things up. And that takes two people or however many people have in the bedroom.
Yeah.
But, you know, being able to keep that momentum going falls on both parties. And it's not really like a finger pointing game.
Mm-hmm.
Amen.
I definitely agree. I think for me, it's a combination of everything, not just emotion, not just chemistry, not just, it has to be like everything. It has to be, we have to be like on we have to be on a good foundation, because going back to my last relationship, I had a lot of love for him. I wasn't in love with him, so I did care about him. So there was some kind of emotional tie there, but it wasn't enough to sleep with him anymore. It wasn't there for me. So there has to be more. There has to be the chemistry. There has to be that connection. Like, I have to feel wanted as much as I want you. Like, there also, for me anyway, there needs to be like this animalistic energy between us. And like, if it's not there, like, then I don't want it.
I gotta crave you.
Yeah.
There was a brain study done that I want to bring up. A brain study that showed the areas of the brain that lit up when men were having an orgasm versus the areas of the brain that lit up when a woman was having an orgasm. And they found that women, the center of their brain that lit up the most when they were having an orgasm was the same part of the brain that lights up when they are in states of anxiety. So a woman needs to essentially be completely relaxed in order to reach orgasm. And this is scientific. So even if her mind is running on 100 miles an hour, and this is, if it's running on 100 miles an hour, you have to be able to bring her into a place of complete calm in order for her body to climax. And so the chemistry is absolutely part of it. Mental, I think female orgasms are really relied mentally, or some of them solely physically, I suppose, but it goes to show by science that women rely very much so on their mental to bring them to orgasm because of the areas that get activated when they do have an orgasm.
Cannabis works too.
What was that, Krista?
Cannabis is a winner with that too.
Okay. So I mean, so have you guys? Are there performance enhancers, so to speak, that you use to help you get to that point? So cannabis, weed, what? Liquor, alcohol, toys, what?
There are products you're able to use minty stuff, like a lot of lubes are minty or eucalyptus type of stuff, because that tingle sensation is something that usually helps a woman along. So a lot of sex products are made with the tingle for women.
I was gonna say, I think it's also a woman's preference, because like I've tried those lubricants that tingle and I don't personally like them. Like, I don't like how it feels.
Yeah, me neither.
So for me to like go back to what Krista said, and Steph, you said this too, like the mental thing. For me personally, I'm very, very anxious person. And I'm like always thinking about everything. And for me, I've had sex once when I was high, and that shit was mind blowing for me. That shit was mind blowing. And I have not experienced that since that one time.
I'm gonna pray for you.
Was it mind blowing for him?
I think so.
But show your kids.
Was he also high? Was he also high?
He was high as fuck, yeah.
Oh, okay.
She ain't even kid. She was like, I got mine. He was there.
For years, yeah. So
Karina Envy. Karina, that's what the E stands for. Karina Envy. There we go.
Because she got her. She was like, it was mind blowing for her. I don't know what he felt, but she. So weed was or shrooms. What were y'all on?
Have you guys ever had an experience? Oh, go ahead.
What, Karina, what were you high on for? To be, I didn't hear you. What, say it again?
Weed.
Oh, okay. Now, go ahead, Steph. What were you saying, Steph?
I was gonna say, I mean, because they're kind of like, have any of you guys had an experience where you realized after the fact that your narrative of the sex and the other person's narrative of the sex was completely different? It was like, were we in the same bed? Like,
that was my whole other relationship, my ex.
Yeah, we never met.
No, savages are here, Paul.
I mean, listen. This is why I had to get these ladies on
I
here,
think this is
because
what this was for, bro.
I know how to give it up. So I already knew.
We're talking specifically about orgasms, but like if you're having sex with somebody just once or twice, if it's a friend or benefit situation, like that's kind of like the moment I'm recalling. It's just like you would pick up what that person is saying, and it's like, yeah, we have this crazy chemistry. It was particularly about chemistry. And I think chemistry is something it's an energetic thing. So it's something that's felt both ways. And I was like, yo, how did I not feel that? And it's just it's so like sad because, you know, it's like,
Look at that smile.
we really didn't
feel
feel
right
the
now.
same
Talking
thing.
about it.
And
Look at
I
it.
hear your story. I hear your story and it doesn't match mine, but this is not in a relationship. In a relationship, I think you're dealing with so much more intimacy. I'm not saying like that. I'm talking about just like she was talking about that good, you know, that good session. But it wasn't the same because she said, I guess it was the same. And I believe it because she's all the vibes. So I know she was feeling it. It was all the vibes for him too. But like, you know, I just think that's like a situation to be on in either end. It's like, damn, you really wasn't that good. And then, damn, was I not really that good? You know.
I mean, it's definitely an awkward moment if you like, you know, I mean, when no man want to see the girl get up mad energetic, about to go do a bunch of stuff like, yeah, I'm tired. Like you up, like, all right.
Or no man wants to hear a woman say, I wish you was somebody else.
I wish you was somebody else. Main situation.
So they talk about men being savages, right? With how we handle certain situations. I mean, I gotta take my hat off to that.
Yo, bow down.
I don't even have a hat on. I mean, but that one, listen.
I would never.
I don't even. First of all, if that's me in that case, man, what did he do? He got up, got dressed, and left. Like, what could you do?
What? We're not gonna hang out after that.
No, I'm saying, but that's my point. What could you do? How could you respond? There's no conversation. I'm not gonna say why you feel that way.
Yeah,
like what? There's nothing you can do other than put your head down,
walk out,
get the fuck up out of there. Like, what else could you do?
Who you thinking about?
Wait, the thing is, I just want to like point out.
Wait. If I heard her correctly, I think she said the dude's name, right? You said I wish it was such and such.
No, I did not know.
Oh, okay. I took it like she said the dude's name. I wish
she didn't want to.
You know, such and such.
What stands out about that story is the fact that she said she was on top. So you know the amount of work this man had to do to like you gotta get out, you gotta kick off.
Yeah, they gotta get her off him.
Yeah. And if it was in the heat of the moment, you gotta find your sock, your underwear, your jeans. Yo,
I feel bad for dude. Like that we started out talking about ego and stuff, right? Like that's the biggest ego killer right there. Like, just I wish you was somebody else. Like,
that's a soul snatcher right there, yo.
And you got to be a real like demon to be on some. Well, I'm not. Keep going.
Even if you that, though, like he went and told somebody, like, no lies about it. I'm not calling none of my boys and having that conversation. Never.
And that person has a relationship with the person that said it. Right. So it came full circle.
Right.
It came.
Nah, bro.
That shit is crazy. Like, you can write a book about that one. That should have sell better than Envy book. Word up.
Word. It just might. It just might.
That man might want therapy actually afterwards.
He needs some. He definitely gonna need some therapy.
It's like, let me tell you about this traumatizing moment.
For real. And that's probably why he told his cousin, but still, I couldn't tell.
He probably had to tell somebody. He's probably hurt. Like,
I gotta talk to I gotta talk to a therapist. I can't talk to somebody that knows you.
Yeah.
Like, cause that's I'm going to.
He told his cousin, not his brother. So your cousin will spill that fucking beans at a party. You ever cross it wrong?
Yeah.
I think everyone would agree that if he's ever at the bottom and someone's on top, that thought kicks into his fucking head.
Absolutely.
Word up. That's traumatizing.
Ruined him, yo. We ruined him.
We do this. No, we do this.
He's like missionary only. No, I'm getting on top. No.
He might be triggered when someone's on top. He's like, oh,
yeah, exactly.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well, that's on him.
Oh man.
Like me as a man though, I've had instances where I'm like, yeah, that wasn't my best work. Like,
right.
That wasn't my
Be honest with yourself.
Yeah, you can be honest with yourself.
And that's when you have those conversations.
Right. And that's my point.
And that's what, going back to what I said in the beginning, you have those conversations. You know, if this is a situation where you having that output, for lack of better words, each time, I mean, you know, she has every right to feel the way she feel. Every right, because you're not picking up on the cues. You're not listening to the conversation. At some point, you got to look in the mirror and decide if you all about yourself or is this about trying to please her. So I mean, in that regard, I can't speak to that, but just to be in that position, and I think it was Karina said the work you got to go through to get the person over you and crawl up out of that situation. The worst part would have been if you were at his house and wasn't like trying to leave. Like, yeah, I said that. Yo, you cooking? You still making dinner? And this dude is like, yo,
get out of my house, baby.
Wouldn't you feel more comfortable sleeping in your own bed right now?
Uber's outside.
You know, that would have been the worst part.
Tiff, my question is, was Usher playing that night?
Oh.
Not that night. Not that night.
It was savage. It was Meg Thee Stallion. It was Meg Thee Stallion, baby.
Yeah, no, not that night. Yeah.
Damn. All right. Well, I think we covered a lot here. Any other questions? Anything else we need to know? Anybody else got any other stories? Like, what are we good?
How could you top that one?
That's what I don't think we can.
Bro.
That one.
I don't think we can.
I see what you did there. How can you top that one?
I'm gonna get that date on a shirt.
Well, I do have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Is there any significance behind you wearing that Purple Rain shirt for this conversation?
I mean, I was trying to think of something to put on. My man Prince is was a very sexual creature.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I figured, for I mean, somebody said something about light-skinned dudes with wavy hair. I mean, Prince was light-skinned, about 5 feet. Like, nobody knew if he was but he stayed with a baddie, so, he was doing something right. You know what I'm saying?
That's a fact.
So I just figured it was an appropriate, Purple Rain. Figured, you know what I'm saying? Every woman need to...
You have to purify yourself in the waters of Lake Minnetonka.
So we good here. Shout out to y'all. Thank y'all for another great conversation. Communication is what it's all about. That's why I have this show. You know what I'm saying? That I feel like every episode that is the key that always stands out for everything we do discuss. Talk about it. That'll get you through a lot of things. And remember the three elements of communication is the words, music, and the dance. The words is what you say. The music is how you say it. The dance is the body language, which is the most important part of it, especially in this conversation we had today. That body, the facial expressions, the movements. You're going to get some tells even without somebody saying something. The body going to tell you a lot. The body going to tell you a lot. So pay attention to the body language. Thank y'all. Tiffany, Lou, Rel, Krista, Karina, Steph, Joaquin, Jared had to go. Thanks him as well. Shout out to everybody listening. Shout out to everybody watching. We will return with some more. It's gonna be hard to top this episode. Tiffany, I don't know if I can have you back on here, Tiffany, because
listen, I got more where that came from.
I believe you do. That's why I'm scared to, have you come back on here. But
the fan base be heavy.
Listen, I hope but you gonna make some people gonna be nervous after this one now. This one.
Listen, that is not my concern.
You're right. They got handle it if you can. Listen, only those are worthy can step to the. You know what I'm saying? So if anybody slide the DMs, whatever, hey, just know what you're getting yourself into. She will tell you.
Was speechless. She had you choked up for a minute.
Nah, I was just saying, you know what I'm saying? Tiff gonna tell you. That ain't it, bro.
She's gonna tell you.
She's gonna tell you. So
that's good.
And on that note, we out of here. Thank y'all.
Peace.
The conversation continues.